Farzad, did you have a question or
Sure.
comment?
Yeah. No, thank you for bringing me up. Hi, Elon. Hi, Jim. Congrats on the announcement. Yeah, Jim, I just want to give you props. I think out of all the legacy automakers, I really like the leadership that you've sort of driven for Ford, having the guts and the bravery of, really allowing the public seeing the financials for all your business units. I think is quite a leadership standpoint that I think should be noticed by the rest of the industry. How do you view that decision within the context of sort of this decision here today? And what are some of the, I guess, challenges or things that you've been able to learn from going through this transition, sort of this next generation of Ford, and sort of at just high level, how you're thinking about Ford where it stands today? I think it's just very impressive how y'all decided to do that. I think it's really, really cool.
Well, I think, obviously Tesla stormed through the train station like 300 kilometer per hour Shinkansen. So it's like, we're learning a lot. I'd say splitting out the business really has been a game changer for us because it's given us a lot. We really are focused on, like, this decision on trying to work on behalf of the customer. And maybe when it was not broken out, we didn't have that laser focus. I think some of the things that we learned, frankly, a lot of them from Elon and his team is, our industry is kind of obsessed with these huge batteries. And I think that's maybe not the right approach. We should make the battery as small as possible, actually, with a really competitive user experience range, but have like really great fast charging experience combined with that, so we don't have to be driving around, $20,000 of extra batteries for customers.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I've learned that. And also the embedded electric architecture, fully updatable vehicle, like, it's super hard what Tesla's done. And I totally respect them, to do that, to make a fully software updatable vehicle. And we're in the process of doing, but it's super hard.
It's super hard, yes. Well, I mean, Jim, we're happy to be helpful in other respects with, on the software front. There may be, some, something where we can be helpful there, in the same way that, like, maybe Android is, helpful to the phone industry as sort of a general standard. Like, we could potentially I think open source more code, and we'd love to be helpful in any way that we can.
Wow. Okay. I'm surprised, kind of. That was my my prediction, was that they were gonna talk about charging, and they did. I'm usually not very good at predicting stuff, but today I was, so I'm proud of myself for that one. Yeah, let me know what you think. I think that was awesome. I think that was a really cool thing, having sort of Ford and Tesla, really their CEOs, their leaders, on the same call, just having just a very casual conversation about their announcement. It really does feel like we're in sort of a new way of making announcements now with Twitter Spaces. We're sort of moving away from this cookie cutter, here's a press release and here are actors and here's a coconut. I don't know, just a super acted thing. And this is more a sitting down and having just a casual chat of the two leaders rather, in a sort of almost professional setting where I think a lot of candid stuff can come up. And so really the biggest thing we learned is that Tesla and Ford are going to partner up on the supercharger network. It's going to start as an adapter for Ford to be able to hook up to every single supercharger in the States for every Ford vehicle starting in 2024 with their existing and new lineup, which basically means that every Ford is going to have access to the entire Tesla supercharger network, which sounds like it's a competitive advantage for Ford versus every other EV, and removes one of the biggest sort of barriers of entry for a Ford shopper for, say, like a Mach-E or a Lightning, which is phenomenal. I think that's a really, really good call for Ford. Again, I'm very impressed by Jim Farley, man. I talk about him in a positive light quite often on this channel, and I think him opening up the books for everyone to see how the EV side performs this early in the game was the right move. And that was sort of my question to him was, now that you have done this, like, was this sort of one of the things that helped you arrive to this situation? And his answer was really interesting. I'll go back and listen to it because I was super nervous and I wasn't able to take in like the first few minutes of his question. And then after my heart rate went back down from 160, I was able to start absorbing what Elon said, not even what Jim said. So really big news, I believe. I think this is sets a sort of I think it sets a tone for the United States, at least the United States market, that says, hey, Tesla is a legitimate player. Tesla is a legitimate automaker, and they have an infrastructure, a unique infrastructure advantage in the sense that they own their charging network. And Ford, who is one of the longest running car companies in the world, and an American icon, really, if you really think about it, has decided to partner directly with Tesla, which is a newcomer American company, to utilize their charging network and giving Ford an advantage versus the rest of its competitors. So it's fantastic. I think it's a fantastic thing. It's good for Ford, and it's also good for Tesla because now Tesla is going to be able to make revenue from the Fords that get sold, right? So for every Ford that is sold moving forward, Tesla is going to be able to make money off of every Ford from charging. And now you extend this out to every automaker. And if Ford is doing it, very likely that GM is going to do it. Very likely that Chrysler is going to do it. Very likely that BMW is going to do it, right? So I think it's a signal that says that Ford will probably be the first one of many. And, we got to sit down and do the math on what this means to Tesla from a financial perspective. But it's obvious that, it's happening. And what's even doubly interesting is that this announcement was made on Elon's company and on Twitter, which gave a very unique sort of dynamic. Let me know what you think in the comments. Very cool. Somebody says here, goodbye, Electrify America. I agree. I don't understand what the advantage of Electrify America is now that the supercharger network's getting to a point where Tesla is going to be able to leverage its capabilities across multiple brands and not just its own. I think it really shows that speed and reliability in the charging infrastructure is by far the biggest competitive advantage. And Tesla is fortunate enough to not just sell the cars, but also the charging infrastructure, and they're going to be able to win from offering that solution. So it's fantastic. Yeah, for sure. Buck, thank you so much again. Dude, Buck is one of the OG supporters of this channel. Thank you, brother. Mary Barra just announced GM is partnering with the Amish community for the horse and buggy shared feeding program. Mary led. Man, if only Mary was more like Jim. That should be a shirt. If only Mary was more like Jim. What do you think? Did I just come up with a Buck? You're like the merch beast. Let me know if that's a good idea. Ford could use Tesla's help. Yeah, I think Ford. I think it was interesting during the conversation how they were openly having a discussion around some of the challenges that Ford was facing, and then what Tesla was facing from a lithium refining perspective. It was really cool. It was really, really cool. And yeah, man, there's a friendship there. I think you can kind of tell by the tones of their voices that those two get along great. So it's very, very fun. So it's an adapter and not moving to NACS. I just tuned in. Sorry. I believe so. It's an adapter and they're moving to NACS. I have to go back and listen to it, but do confirm for me that this is the case in the comments. But it will definitely be an adapter to start, and I believe over time they'll move to the charging standard. This is much bigger than it seems on this day in history. Yeah, I think it's a signal. It's a signal. It's a significant signal that says what Tesla has built is a competitive advantage, and that's something. That's something. Do you think Ford is going to move the charge port to the rear left? Probably with new models starting in 2024, this could be the case, because then they'll be able to utilize the supercharger network in the way it was intended, because every Tesla car has it on the rear, in the rear left. Well, I think Mach-E's have it in the front left. Correct me if I'm wrong, or front right. I don't think it's in the rear. I think it's in the front. But then it means it can pull in, but it's not long enough. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the solution is, but it would make sense. Will Tesla be making money by partnering with Ford? Absolutely. Tesla will make money from the Ford customers charging at Tesla stations, and Tesla will be able to charge them a charging fee for every Ford that arrives. And it sounds like they'll be able to utilize the supercharger network using the Ford app. It's not just the Tesla app; they'll be able to use the Ford app. If I understood that correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. But that's really cool customer implementation, right, from Ford's standpoint, and how they're focusing on the customer experience. I think that's a great move. I think that's a really, really good move. I think the Tesla and Ford cooperation there, I think partnership is a big plus for both, proves Ford is sane and gets Tesla some more recognition. 100% agree. I think it's great for both. It's like a win-win relationship. Customers will buy more Fords, and Tesla will make money from Ford customers by charging. But then if you're offering the best charging product, then it's really a win-win situation for everybody. So what if Ford can't really make EV vehicles happen? I mean, this is really the age-old question of legacy automakers being able to scale fast enough to survive the transition. But they're definitely trying, and I am again impressed by Jim's openness and sort of his ability to stay pragmatic and humble, and really understanding the dynamic of what's going on. That's the first step you need. You need a leader that's willing to do that. So props to Jim, man. I can't say it enough. I think Jim is a badass. Out of all the legacy automaker CEOs, he's by far my favorite one. Not Mary Barra, sorry, as much as you might think that. Did Elon hint at licensing FSC in the future? He definitely said that, anything that Ford needs help with, Tesla's more than willing to help them. So to me, that sounds like a lot of things. I wish I could ask a follow-up question. I wanted to sort of unmute and ask another question, but I wanted to be respectful of the rest of the people because I knew they didn't have a lot of time. But my follow-up was going to be around raw material sourcing too, which Hans from our community sort of brought up as a point in a Twitter space. I really think that could be a thing where maybe if Tesla and another player can come together and go into partnership in alleviating their biggest bottleneck for building EVs, which is lithium refining as one, and then sourcing of materials as other one. Maybe you go into partnership with a Ford or somebody else and say, yo, let's go and freaking get these freaking raw materials because we need to make as many EVs as humanly possible. So yeah, I could see this. It opens the door, right? This Ford relationship opens the door. It starts with charging, but it could go into licensing of software. It could be raw material partnership. It could be drivetrain licensing. It could be battery and drivetrain purchases, licensing of whatever else. Who knows? They could freaking get bots at a discount rate in their factories because they have an account open with Tesla. And Tesla's like, yo, I'll give you 5% off because you open your supercharger network with me, and now your labor goes down. I don't know. You tell me. It's crazy. Like, you open the door, anything can happen. That's the beautiful thing about business. You open the door to a relationship. They obviously have a good relationship. They really are. They're praising each other's efforts, and so with that open door, anything can happen. So, yeah, crazy stuff. So. Big stuff, man. Transitioning the world to sustainable energy. Tesla's goal is advanced by helping Ford. Yeah, and Ford is able to thrive as a business by leveraging the best charging network in the country.